I've been a little under the weather with some COVID issues, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better. And I figured today I could at least get this neck bearing inspected on this bike. I'm doing a full rebuild. Now this is one of my youngest boy's bikes. So anyhow, it's pretty simple. But if you've never done it, maybe this will help. We're gonna go ahead and pull this triple clamp and inspect the neck bearings, and then and repack them with grease and put it back together. But first things first, you're gonna pull your top nut. This is a 2015 KTM 50 SXS, and so you got a 27 mil, and then of course you got your Torx that you're gonna pull, and then you're just gonna use a mallet to tap or to drive the spindle down, and it should come right apart. So we'll see how easy it is. So your Torx for these, the Torx specs, they'll be in your owner's manual. Maybe I'll list them in the description or information below. Let's see if this is, wow, nice. There's still some old grease in here, so that's good. But you can see the cage. The cage is nice and tight. On this one here, it's free. It's not all rusted up. The O-ring's still in good shape, so that's good. I'll go ahead and clean this bearing out, and I'm gonna leave it on the spindle because it's actually pressed on, and then I'm just gonna use a needle, and I'm actually gonna needle grease throughout this whole race. I use a marine grade grease, just because there's so much water intrusion issues with your neck. Just mainly, you know, my boys, they power wash their bikes after every race. So here's your upper bearing. Look at that. It's still got some of that old grease in it. And that thing's actually it's in good shape too. The race is still tight. All right. Well, that's good. You're gonna check your chrome journals in here, where you actually, let me see if I can show you here. You're gonna check your journal in here for any corrosion or anything on the chrome surface. These are pressed in as well. This is, I mean, it looks nice and smooth, and there's no pitting or galling or anything. So I think he's actually in really good shape. So all I got to do is clean the bearings out, grease them back up, and pop it back together. All right, well, I decided that I'm not going to put this back together yet. I'm actually going to end up cleaning this frame and putting a fresh coat of paint on it before I reassemble the bike. But when you go to put this back together, all right, you're going to have everything greased up. You're going to inspect your seals, right? You're going to go ahead and put your triple back together. You put your top bearing in, you put your top bearing and your cover on, you know, slide your triple in, put the top of your triple on, and then you're going to throw on your nut. And you're only going to put it on just finger tight, right? And then you'll take your front forks and you're actually going to slide those in, and you're going to get those aligned where they're supposed to be, and you're actually going to torque those down first so that your triple is squared off your forks. And then once that's done, you'll go ahead and you'll torque your top nut. The torque on this top nut is about 6.5 foot-pounds. Once that's torqued, then you can torque your retainer, this little guy right here, and this is right around 14.5 foot-pounds. So you'll torque that in, and then you're done. Then your triple is tied together. It's got fresh grease in it, and you don't have to worry about the kids, you know, having issues out there on the track. Alright, well, here's a quick note that might help you if you don't have special tools. Obviously, on this bike, the bearings are in good shape, the races are in good shape. But I've had to replace multiple neck bearings on different bikes that we've had. And I don't have any special tools for them. So what I do is I go ahead and put a block of wood in my vise, and I set this upside down in the vise, right? And I put a block on each side, and I just lightly grasp it in the vise. And then I'll take an air hammer, and I'll just walk around the outside of the race and tap it a few times, and this bearing will actually walk right off, okay? Once the bearing's off, I'll go ahead and put on my new seals and everything, and I'll take my new bearing that's packed with grease, and I'll slip it on. It'll go down, and it's not going to want to walk all the way on that surface because it has to be pressed on, right? So my new bearing will be on there. I'll take that old bearing that I took off, and what I'll do is I'll cut the cage off it. I'll just use some diagonal side cutters, and I'll snap off that cage and throw it off the side, and I'll just take the inner race and I'll throw it on upside down. So when it runs down, that the surface of the top of the race meets the surface of the top of the race on my brand new bearing. And then I can go ahead and put this in the vise. I can grab a piece of spare pipe, a lot of times your jack handle or whatnot, that'll meet this upper surface nice and square, and then I can actually press on my new bearing, and then it'll get it down nice and tight, and I don't think you'll have any issues. I haven't had any issues doing it that way. Again, if you don't want to spend the money to go to buy a special tool, that's how I've done multiple times. Never had an issue. So yeah, hopefully it helps you.